The throne room of the Valthurian flagship stretched before Alex like a cathedral of alien architecture. Crystalline pillars reached toward a domed ceiling that displayed the stars beyond, each one a world the Valthurians had conquered. And at the center of it all sat Jiggy, Empress of the Valthurian Collective, her 4 arms resting on the armrests of her obsidian throne, her violet eyes fixed on the human who had haunted her dreams for half a decade. Alex walked forward, his footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. No chains bound his wrists, no guards flanked his sides. He came of his own accord, as he had promised he would in his final transmission. His uniform was torn, stained with the dust of 100 battlefields, but he held his head high. Jiggy's facial tendrils, delicate appendages that betrayed every emotion her species felt, trembled as she watched him approach. For 5 years, she had chased this man across the galaxy. 5 years of tactical genius meeting tactical genius. 5 years of victories and defeats that balanced so perfectly that neither side could claim true dominance. Commander Alex Chen, Jiggy's voice resonated through the chamber, translated instantly by the neural implants both species now shared. You requested an audience. Empress Jiggy, Alex stopped at the base of the throne platform, offering a slight bow. Not submission, respect. I've come to surrender. The words should have brought her joy. They should have heralded the greatest victory of her reign. Instead, Jiggy felt something cold settle in her chest. Explain, she commanded, though her voice wavered. Alex looked up at her, and for the first time in 5 years of holographic communications and battlefield encounters, she saw exhaustion in his eyes. Not defeat, exhaustion. Earth's fleets are scattered, our supply lines are broken, we've lost 70% of our colonial holdings. He spoke matter-of-factly, as if reading a tactical report, but that's not why I'm surrendering. Jiggy's facial tendrils curled inward, a sign of confusion. Then why? Because I'm tired, Jiggy, and I think you are too. The use of her name without title should have been an insult. Instead, it felt intimate, familiar. They had been enemies so long that they knew each other better than they knew their own officers. Jiggy rose from her throne, her flowing robes cascading down the steps as she descended. She had imagined this moment countless times, the human commander brought before her in chains, his defiance finally broken. But this wasn't that fantasy. This was something far more complex. You think you understand me, human? She stopped 3 steps above him, using the height advantage that protocol demanded. I know that you started this war because your people were starving, Alex said quietly. The Valthurian homeworld sun is dying. You needed new worlds, new resources. I know that every battle we fought, every human ship we destroyed weighed on you. I've seen it in your eyes during our negotiations. Jiggy's facial tendrils went rigid. No one spoke of the dying sun. It was the Empire's greatest shame, the weakness at the heart of their strength. How dare you? I know because I've carried the same weight, Alex interrupted, his voice gentle but firm. Every Valthurian life lost was someone's parent, someone's child. I've read your cultural texts, Jiggy. I know your people value family above all else. Every soldier I killed was someone's family. A sound escaped Jiggy's throat, a keening note that no translation could capture. Her facial tendrils trembled violently. You were the enemy, she whispered. You were supposed to be the enemy. I was, Alex agreed. I am, but I'm also tired of being the reason parents lose children. Tired of watching Earth's youth march off to die in ships I designed. Tired of matching wits with the one being in the universe who truly understands the cost of war. Jiggy descended the final steps, bringing them eye to eye. Up close, Alex could see the faint scars on her facial tendrils, marks from battles she had personally fought in, not just commanded. She had never hidden behind her rank. If you surrender, my people will demand trials, she said. They'll want justice for their dead. I know. You'll likely be executed. I know. Then why? Jiggy's voice cracked. Why not fight to the last? That's what humans do. That's what you've always done. Your species' entire reputation across the galaxy is built on your refusal to yield. Alex smiled, sad and weary, because maybe it's time we proved we're more than our reputation. Maybe humanity needs to show the galaxy that we're wise enough to know when to stop fighting. Wise enough to accept extinction. Jiggy's facial tendrils lashed in agitation. Make no mistake, Alex, if you surrender, if Earth's resistance crumbles, my empire will absorb your worlds. Humanity will become subjects of the collective. Will you slaughter us? Alex asked directly. Jiggy recoiled as if struck. What? No, we're not. The collective doesn't commit genocide. Then we'll survive, changed, yes, diminished probably, but alive. Alex's eyes held hers. And maybe, just maybe, we can help you save your dying son. Jiggy's forearms wrapped around herself, a self-protective gesture. You don't know that we can be saved. Your scientists gave up because they were focused on conquest, not cooperation, Alex said, but humanity has some of the best stellar engineers in the galaxy. If you stop trying to destroy us and start working with us. It's too late for that, Jiggy's voice rose, echoing through the chamber. 5 years, Alex, 5 years of war, millions dead on both sides. You think we can just, shake hands and become friends? No, Alex said quietly. I think we can stop being enemies. There's a difference. Jiggy turned away from him, her robes swirling. She walked to one of the crystalline pillars and placed a hand against it. Through the transparent material, she could see her fleet, thousands of ships, each one a weapon she had wielded against humanity. I've dreamed of your surrender, she admitted, of finally besting the great human commander, of proving that the Valthurian collective was superior. And no, now I realize that if you surrender, I lose the only being in the universe who truly challenges me. She laughed bitterly. How pathetic is that? I should be celebrating, but instead I feel empty, Alex finished, because you've defined yourself by this war for so long that you don't remember who you were before it started. Jiggy's facial tendrils drooped, a sign of deep sorrow. I was going to be a scholar, did you know that? Before the sun started dying, before the Empire needed warriors instead of philosophers, I studied ancient texts. I wanted to preserve our cultural heritage. You still can, Alex said, moving to stand beside her. If the war ends, if we work together, maybe you can be a scholar again. And you, Jiggy looked at him, what will you be? I don't know, Alex admitted. Maybe nothing, maybe a prisoner, maybe a bridge between our peoples. He paused, maybe dead. That's when it happened. Jiggy's facial tendrils began to tremble, and crystalline tears, the unique tears of her species, began to form in her violet eyes. She tried to stop them, tried to maintain the imperial dignity her position demanded, but they came anyway, sliding down her face like liquid starlight. I don't want you to die, she whispered. I've spent 5 years trying to kill you, and now that you're surrendering, I realize I don't want you to die. Alex reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and gently touched one of her facial tendrils. It wrapped around his finger, an instinctive response among her people, a gesture of trust and connection. Then don't let me, he said. You're the Empress. If anyone can change the course of this war, it's you. My people will see it as weakness, Jiggy said, but she didn't pull away from his touch. Or vision, Alex countered. The Empress who was strong enough to win the war, and wise enough to know that victory and annihilation aren't the same thing. Jiggy closed her eyes, more tears falling. 5 years. 5 years of chess games played with fleets and lives. 5 years of studying her enemy until he became something more than an enemy. 5 years of respecting his tactical brilliance, his refusal to target civilian populations even when it would have given him an advantage, his coded messages that always honored the dead on both sides. She opened her eyes and looked at him, this human who had been her perfect opposite, her greatest challenge, and perhaps the only being who truly understood her burden. If I do this, she said slowly, if I accept your surrender and work toward peace instead of conquest, there will be resistance, from my people and yours. Probably, Alex agreed. We might fail. Possibly. We might both end up executed for treason. It's a risk. Jiggy's facial tendrils rippled with something like laughter. You're asking me to gamble my empire on a possibility. I'm asking you to remember who you wanted to be, Alex said. The scholar, the preserver of culture, not the conqueror. For a long moment, Jiggy stood silent, her hand still on the crystalline pillar, Alex's finger still wrapped in her facial tendril. Outside, the fleet waited for orders. Inside, two souls who had been enemies for so long they had forgotten how to be anything else stood at a crossroads. Finally, Jiggy straightened, wiping the tears from her face with two of her hands while the other two smoothed her robes. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of imperial authority. Commander Alex Chen, I accept your surrender. She paused, her facial tendrils settling into a pattern that indicated resolve. And I hereby appoint you as special envoy to the Valthurian collective, with the task of negotiating a lasting peace between our peoples. Alex blinked. That's not what I expected. Did you think I'd waste the tactical genius of the man who fought me to a standstill for 5 years? Jiggy allowed herself a small smile. You know my people, Alex. You've studied us as thoroughly as I've studied humanity. If anyone can help bridge our worlds, it's you. Your people will be furious. Let them be, Jiggy said, and there was steel in her voice now. I am Empress, and I choose peace. She turned to face the throne room doors where her honor guard waited. With a gesture, she summoned them forward. "Summon the High Council," she commanded. "Tell them the war is over, and prepare a chamber for our new envoy, one befitting an honored guest, not a prisoner." As the guards hurried to obey, Jiggy looked back at Alex. Her facial tendrils formed a pattern he had learned to recognize over their years of conflict, respect mixed with challenge. "This won't be easy," she warned. "Nothing worth doing ever is," Alex replied. "Many will try to undermine us. Then we'll outmaneuver them together." Jiggy's facial tendrils rippled with genuine amusement. "You realize this means we'll be working together instead of against each other." "Terrifying, isn't it?" Alex grinned. "You'll have to get used to me being on your side. And you'll have to get used to Valthurian bureaucracy. Trust me, human, you haven't known true warfare until you've faced a council meeting." They laughed together, the first time in 5 years that they had shared something other than tactical communications and battle strategies. It felt strange, it felt right. As they walked together toward the council chambers, toward an uncertain future, Jiggy realized something profound. The war hadn't ended with a bang, with a final desperate battle or a crushing defeat. It had ended with tears and trust, with two enemies choosing to become something new. She glanced at Alex, this human who had been her nemesis and was now her ally. 5 years of war had brought them to this moment. Perhaps it would take 5 years of peace to truly understand what they had started. But for the first time since her son had begun to die, Jiggy felt something she had almost forgotten: hope. And hope, she thought, was worth fighting for.